It turns out, if you're going to scam people out of $500 million, maybe don't go to a business meeting in the middle of the desert with 3 guys you've never met. On October 2nd, 2025, Roman Novak and his wife Anna went to a meeting with investors at a lake in Hadda, Dubai, but they never came back. Roman was a convicted fraudster who allegedly scammed investors out of $500 million through a crypto platform called Fintopia. He spent years telling people he was Pavel Durov's right-hand man, the CEO of Telegram, but his final meeting wasn't a business deal, it was a death trap. This is the timeline of how a $500 million crypto heist ended in a desert grave in one of the world's most policed cities. Roman Novak was no ordinary businessman. He was a professional at taking other people's money. In 2020, he was sentenced to 6 years in a Russian prison for large-scale fraud, although he didn't serve the full term. By 2023, he was out and doing exactly the same thing, just with better weather. He moved to Dubai and launched Fintopia, a crypto wallet and exchange platform. He marketed it aggressively to investors in Russia, China, and the Middle East, leveraging a completely unproven claim that he was a board member at Telegram and a close personal friend of its founder. Somehow, beyond all human logic and reasoning, his scam worked. Fintopia reportedly pulled in up to $500 million. Then, in classic rug pull fashion, the platform suddenly ceased operations. The money vanished, leaving a trail of angry investors with very deep pockets and very little patience. In the crypto world, when you lose $500 million of other people's money, you don't just get a bad review on Yelp, you get a target on your back. On the morning of October 2nd, after months of traveling the world and living lavish lives, Roman and Anna's private driver dropped them off at a lakeside parking lot in Hadda, near the Omani border. They were there to meet what they thought were 3 new investors. According to witnesses and CCTV, the couple got into another vehicle and disappeared. They were lured to a rented villa under the guise of a high-stakes investment meeting. But once inside the villa, the investors revealed their true identity: an extortion squad. The group included former Russian homicide officer Konstantin Shakht, who had been convicted on drug charges back in 2005, and 2 discharged veterans of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Vladimir Dalekin and Yuri Sharipov. These were people who knew how to extract information. The kidnappers wanted the keys to Novak's crypto wallets. When Roman and Anna didn't immediately hand them over, the situation turned into a scene from a horror movie. Investigators report that the couple was subjected to wrench attacks, a term for physical torture used to force crypto owners to reveal their private keys. To break them, the suspects reportedly forced Roman and Anna to watch each other being tortured. There are conflicting reports on what happened next, but none of them are good. Some sources say Roman eventually gave up the codes. Others say he didn't resist at all. But when the killers finally logged into the wallets, they found nothing. The accounts were empty. Whether Novak had already spent the $500 million, hidden it in a different layer of the blockchain, or if the money never even existed in the first place, is still a mystery. The mastermind behind the plot, Shakht, likely expected a massive payday. Instead, he left the villa with 2 dead bodies and an empty digital folder. Realizing they weren't getting paid, the suspects killed the couple. They were stabbed to death and then dismembered. To cover their tracks, the killers used industrial-strength chemical solvents to speed up decomposition and destroy DNA evidence. They then placed the remains in polyethylene bags, poured concrete over them, and buried them in a remote stretch of the desert near Fujairah. The suspects didn't hang around to enjoy the Dubai sun, and they fled the UAE almost immediately, heading back to Russia, Georgia, and even South Africa, while carrying Roman and Anna's cell phones to throw off the police's trail, but they were tracked via mobile signals and CCTV. And by November, the UAE police had identified 8 Russian nationals involved, 3 primary suspects and 5 intermediaries. The primary organizer is believed to be the 53-year-old Konstantin Shakht, who was arrested at a St. Petersburg airport alongside Yuri Sharipov and Vladimir Dalekin. While Sharipov and Dalekin reportedly confessed to the kidnapping and murder, Shakht has maintained his innocence. The intermediaries, who handled logistics like renting the villa and cars, claimed they had no idea a murder was being planned. On December 1st, based on testimony from the suspects, authorities finally located the bodies. Dubai police searched a 500 by 500 meter area of the desert and found the couple's remains encased in concrete. The discovery ended a 2-month missing persons case and started a massive criminal investigation spanning 2 continents. The wrench attack of Roman and Anna Novak isn't an isolated incident. In 2025 alone, there have been 48 recorded wrench attacks globally. In Spain, a trader was shot in the leg and tortured for hours before being executed in a wooded area in Argentina. In Paris, the co-founder of the billion-dollar firm Ledger had his finger cut off by kidnappers. And in Montreal, Quebec, a crypto influencer was kidnapped by gangsters he'd scammed, murdered, and hidden in the basement of a trailer. The rising price of Bitcoin and the ease of transferring digital assets has turned crypto entrepreneurs into high-value targets for organized crime. But as experts have pointed out, Roman Novak was a walking red flag. He wasn't a random businessman. He was a convicted scammer who flaunted stolen wealth in one of the most expensive cities in the world, in front of the very people he'd scammed. This wasn't just a crime for profit, it was likely a revenge hit from someone Novak had defrauded. The investigation is still active. Russian and Emirati authorities are working together to trace where that $500 million actually went. Meanwhile, the couple's 2 young children have been taken back to Russia to be cared for by their grandfather. The killers swapped vehicles and used every trick in the book to disappear. But they forgot the most basic rule of the digital age. Everything leaves a trail. UAE police found traces of Anna's blood in the villa and a rented car. They found a cache of knives near the crime scene. They even found one of the organizers' t-shirts left behind in the rush to flee. It turns out that even for professional killers, it's hard to clean up a crime scene when you're in a hurry to catch a flight. The suspects are now facing life sentences under Article 105 of the Russian Criminal Code. The entire situation, and ones like it, serve as a brutal reminder that in the world of unregulated finance, your biggest gains can become your biggest liability. Roman Novak's Fintopia platform is gone, the money is gone, and the only thing left of his $500 million empire is a forensic report, a burial plot in St. Petersburg, and an Instagram profile that hasn't posted anything since October 1st, 2025.